welcome to Homo Politicus on Enterprise TV. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. As you know, we keep tackling issues thrown up by contemporary Nigeria, just so you know. And today, tell Tinubu to tackle hunger. Kano Emir charges First Lady. Now, to say that there's hunger in the land is a gross understatement. The English novelist and critic, if you remember him, and the author of Animal Farm, George Orwell, captured it graphically when he said, quote, "It is fatal to look hungry. It makes people want to kick you," end quote. Now, in millions of homes as I speak now, people, including women, children, and fathers, have not eaten. Royalty has waded into the matter, and the intervention is targeted at the First Lady, Remi Tinubu. The Emir of Kano, Aminu Adebayo, has asked the First Lady to tell President Bola Tinubu that the hardship in the country has reached alarming proportions. The Kano Emir is banking on the sympathy that the First Lady would take advantage of a pillow talk to drive the message home. A word, as they always say, is enough for the wise. My discussant this morning is the chartered accountant and political commentator, Tumi Olowe. Tumi, I greet you.
Good morning, citizens.
Yes. Tumi, on the surface, cynics would say it is impolitic for the Emir to speak at a time like this, meaning is likely seeking attention. Does the president not know there's hunger in the land? If you see that's where I'm coming from.
Well, definitely the president does know, and I'm sure that's why he gave an order that grain should be released from the storage to ameliorate the rising cost of foodstuff in the market. Also, the Emir is within his right to also voice out his concern and send the First Lady to house back, as it were. But you see, these economic issues that we're having is not isolated, unwanted. It goes round for our elected officials to deal with. And that's why, for me, it was unfortunate that members of the State House of Assemblies refused to pass the law to liberate the local government. You see, when we keep talking about food prices rising, most of them are grains, and lands are in custody of state governments. Yes, there's a federal ministry of agriculture, but the policy that are being made there will be implemented at state level. So what are our states doing? For example, Kano State has more than 20 dams across the state for irrigation and everything. So you expect that dry season planting and everything will be going on, and we'll be getting food into the market. And it's not Kano State alone. We have Kwara State, we have Niger State, we have Benue State. So the question we want to ask Kogi to start. The question we want to ask is, how are states Ministry of Agriculture collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that we have food sufficiency? And that is the thing we need to deal with.
And did they not see this coming?
Let's even say they did not see this coming. You can do with improved seedings. You can do rice, maize, millet, all those grains. You can do them like 4 or 5 times in a year. So what are the plans that are there? Okay, pending the time we have this, the federal government is releasing grains from the reserve, which is under
102 100,000 metric tons.
Yes, which is another problem, because what is the process of getting this grain to those that actually need them? December of last year.
Who doesn't need it amongst the 36 states?
Not the states per se, the citizens. Of course, it's going to go around the 36 states, but we will get to the market.
Yeah.
Because we heard in the news in December of last year that the president released rice through the representatives of the people, the House of Rep and senators.
Yeah.
But I doubt if it got to the constituency. So the problem we have in Nigeria is getting a working relationship between the federal government and the state government. And we have to get that. We can cry to the president. He has released, like I said, that amount of metric tons.
Sorry, let me tease you a little. Let's talk some more politics there. But there are more APC states than the others in this country. When
it comes to nitty-gritty, these are vehicles for politicians to achieve their aims. When motor vehicles were being shared at the National Assembly, some parties that individuals from those parties complained about high cost of governance, their party members refused the cars. They collected it. So
it is their right.
So this is not a party matter. It is an economic matter that does not distinguish between whether you are APC, PDP, LP,
or BBC.
We go to the market, and nobody writes whatever political affiliations you have on your forehead. So, for me, there has to be synergy between the federal and the state government. We can shout and push to the federal government. Yes, the federal government has a whole lot to do, ensure that security is put in place. And even at that, you still have to collaborate with the states. Because most of the problem we are having with security issues, because there are no consequences.
Consequences for bad behavior.
For bad behavior.
Yeah.
Now, we heard that kidnappers have been arrested and stuff like that. That is the last we hear about most of those cases. We never get to hear about...
and to think that many states across the country have criminalized kidnapping. To the point of making it a capital offense.
So you expect that, because if we just use 2 or 3 people, for example, fast track their prosecution, if they are found guilty, carry out,
pay the price.
Let them pay the price. Let people see that government at federal and state level are about tackling this issue. Because when we talk about farming too, people will say, banditry is disturbing farming. So, in a particular state that has large arable land and there is insecurity there, what synergy has been developed between that state and the central government to ensure that there is security? Yes, the thing is, if we think we play politics with this, we will still be the one that is suffering it. So we need to get solution to it. The Emir has spoken well. I will also want him to ask what the Kano state government is doing to ensure that...
More like asking him to start from home.
Start from home. And I'm glad that, last couple of days, we've seen the Kano state government moved into the market to ensure that underhand activities are not allowed. And that should go across all states. I think it was Niger, not too sure, where the governor stopped people coming to mop up food stuff. Because unless we want to destroy ourselves, people are also taking advantage of the current institution in the country to play hanky-panky. People are holding food stuff. There is no game saying that. And we're the one that would suffer for it. I've read on social media people castigating the Kano state government for sealing up those warehouses. But you see, ignorance is not an excuse on that. There are actually laws, regulations that were made against hoarding and arbitrary price increase. So the Kano state government is working within the ambit of law. So if those merchants that have their stores shut or their warehouses shut down really think and they are sure that they were not hoarding or causing,
let them seek redress.
let them just go seek redress.
Yeah.
Because we need to put a stop. If the country goes up in flame, we would suffer for it. Because you see, somehow it seems as if some of us want, let's eat the streets. If we eat the streets, it's not going to increase the number of rice or beans in the market.
Yeah, to me, the impression you're giving me is an open one, that our problems are man-made.
Definitely, they are man-made.
And only man in this country can solve it.
We created the problem and we are the one that will solve it. Now, for me, the president or the federal government needs to be careful how they implement advice from IMF. Because we are a peculiar people and some of our problems are peculiar to this country. Because, you will say that the normal law of demand and supply do not really apply in Nigeria. So you need to be careful in implementing all what these IMF people are saying. They come around and say that we need subsidies from this. Whereas over there in Europe and America, their farmers are highly subsidized. A couple of weeks ago, the French farmers were on the streets. I think another country, I forgot the name exactly, are already planning to eat the streets because the farmers need to be protected. If the government is not going to provide subsidy to ensure that they don't run at a loss, then they are going to stop farming. So here in Nigeria, we cannot renew subsidy on everything. That's just the reality of it. Farmers need to be subsidized too. They need to be helped with equipment, improved seedling, funding.
Don't you think that's a little naughty? Naughty is Knotty in this case, like a knot you are tying. Because insecurity, as you said earlier on, is hampering farming in many of the states.
So that is why it has to be a wholesome solution.
Yeah.
We are going to invest this much in farming. Of course, you are going to put in place systems that will ensure that those investments don't go down the drain. So you can't take it in isolation.
I personally can't stop talking about it because I'm, if you like, involved. We should not be importing palm oil, but we do.
We should not be importing a whole lot of things.
So our problems, as avoidable as they are allowed to consume the Nigerians. So tells you it pays many people in this country to see us suffer like this.
Yes, because our case is like somebody that is because he wants to kill a snake, and he thinks that the snake is so long, and because of the length of the snake, that is how he's going to set fire to the house. And that's what it seems like that we are doing. So
more so in supposed peacetime.
In supposed peacetime. So imagine if we are in a peaceful period and we have this kind of economy and we want to now go on the streets and create chaos. It's not going to solve our problem. If you think that a protest would, because we have been thinking, what would the protest really bring about? What solution will it bring about? Because we've seen protests in Nigeria. We know how it goes out of hand when it is hijacked by. So we need to be very careful, not moving from the fry pan into the fire.
Let's go back to the Emir's intervention. He's asking the First Lady to talk to the first citizen. I mentioned it in passing. Pillow talk. It's called pillow talk. Do you think many men still listen to their wives?
Well, I wouldn't say,
especially high up there.
I wouldn't say yes or no, but when you look over history, you will see the effect that the females have behind the curtain. So we can't really rule it out.
Okay.
They have a whole lot of influence. So yes, that's why I said the Emir was within his right to ask the First Lady to also convey the message to her husband. But beyond that, the Emir should also talk to the local government and the state government. What are we also doing in these states to ensure that
the common saying is, be the change you want to see in the world.
And that's why I'm happy that the Kano state government has taken the step that they took to ensure that don't hold. Let the supplies be there. Yeah, it doesn't stop high cost of foodstuff. But when the supply is there and you are not holding it up to speculate and drive up the price, we would now be able to also now sit down and start tackling those. But you see, you are tackling others, and then you are tackling the source. You are just running all over the place.
Okay. Just to remind the viewer, this is Homo Politicus on Enterprise TV, and today we are tackling the issue. Tell Tinubu to tackle hunger. Kano Emir charges First Lady. We'll take this break and return very shortly.
Enterprise TV, your one-stop shop for news, programs, human angle stories, the economy, sports, and much more. We go the extra mile to bring incredible details to you. So hop on the train now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
All right, folks, welcome back. Let's continue to tackle the issue. Kano State Emir has asked the First Lady to tell the husband, otherwise the first citizen of the country, that hunger in the land is dispiriting, demeaning. My guest remains Tumi Olowe. To me, before the break, we talked about pillow talk, husband and wife would normally have a pillow talk. In most of those pillow talks, they discuss the family, which is the first concern here, and then everything that follows. So the First Lady reaching out to Mr. President is a totally new thing here, if you understand what I mean. Especially if the husband is not querulous, if you understand.
Well, I want to believe that the First Lady, without being told by the Emir, also is aware of what is happening in the country. Of course, this will just reinforce whatever she had seen. And like I said, the federal government has its role to play, no doubt about that. But we also need to see what the states are doing. With regards to agriculture, making foodstuff available, Lagos State is doing so much more than, and Lagos State, given the landmass, should be the least that should be in the forefront of food security. But it is at the front border in Lagos State.
Yeah.
And Lagos State has started modern markets from farm to the launch one in Moshin late last year. And the reports one has gotten from people that have actually gone there to shop is that
essentially that's what government should do before a particular problem becomes an emergency.
Yes, so we should stop being, we are reactive a lot in Nigeria. We should be proactive. And those are the proactive steps that Lagos has taken. Lagos has a rice. Of course, Lagos.
I hear one of the biggest.
One of the biggest, yes.
Yeah.
And, during the last administration, a whole lot of people invested in rice mill, even one of the biggest importers of rice. Also went to Dangote, Kuskari. So those rice mills are located in states. Let those states where they are located collaborate with them and also ensure that some provisions that the federal government are putting in place are channeled to the people that we know have the capability and capacity to handle the support from the federal government, instead of just giving it to people that would divert such funds into some other things.
To me, I wonder if we are 1/10 as aghast as I am when I talked about our penchant for importing palm oil. I come from the palm oil belt, so you understand. I understand. Yeah, my grouse. Isn't there anything the populace can do in this regard?
Well, I think
because sorry, I'm wondering how the governor of my state, for instance, would keep the people busy producing palm oil to export to Nigeria.
Is it? That's why I said the federal government has a big role to play, but the states too that are in control of this arable land,
yes,
should show working. Now, I understand where you're coming from when you talk about us importing palm oil, given that the money that was invested in building that church will have gone a long way in improving and getting the citizens involved in the cultivation of palm oil if the governor had thought about it. But when you look around the states in Nigeria, that's what we get. I have a friend that some couple of years ago just said, to me about 300 acres of land back in Ekiti, and you know that I could not get workers in Ekiti. I had to go to Kogi, Niger State, Benue to get workers. Because over time, in the Southwest, for example, farming has been pushed to the backboners. Edo State used to have this agricultural program. Same thing to Ogun State. But if you go back to those states now, those agricultural programs are moribund. The farms are lying fallow there. So when we complain about food shortage, I always laugh. Over time, the citizens and the government have both abandoned farming. The citizens don't find it rewarding enough. The government has not done anything to attract. There's still people that are interested in farming, but if you hear their complaints of no support from them, there's this Nigerian that has a farm in Nasarawa, Gatiye community. The guy is doing so much. He speaks so much about agriculture, and you will always see him complain that, look, these are the things that we need as farmers. But state government and federal government are not coming to the aid of the citizens to ensure this. A whole lot of people took the rice intervention funding from the federal government in the last dispensation. And what we've heard is that most of the people that got those facilities did not even have any business getting those facilities. So the federal government has a good policy. How is it implemented at the end point where people will need it? And that's where the state also comes in. There has to be a working relationship between the federal government, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and State Ministry of Agriculture. Is that the state is organizing its farmers into cooperatives that we can guarantee, so that when this financial support and comes from the federal government, we have people that we can plug in.
And of course, we are not talking about subsistence farming.
No. We're talking about
farming that can.
Yes, medium, large scale farming.
Yeah, but the news I have here is about the global food crisis. I hear it's affecting millions of people around the world.
There's no light there, but does that stop us from tackling our own issues at home? No, it does not.
And the argument is also there about us opening our borders that were closed in the time of the last administration, bringing more rice and so on.
You see, we will always look for excuse, but it does not detract from the fact that we have allowed agriculture to die out. We would not have any fear of opening borders if we have more than enough. If we have, well, in the last dispensation,
so we move from quickly to you, keeping the borders closed is in our best interest?
You see, that is what I'm saying. That's why I call Nigeria is peculiar. So whether you keep it closed or open, people would always keep it. But the thing is, ensure you can open the borders if you want to import rice. But because I know that we have rice growers in Nigeria, that I have supported financially and everything.
To me, we are not taking advantage.
That's what I'm saying. The state government and the federal government are not working together. So it's beyond shouting on the federal government. If you check the programs, the federal government has programs. But how does this program, what does it translate to when it gets to the states? Because the federal government don't have farmlands. The farmlands are in the states. What is the working relationship between the federal government and the states? You see, when the federal government comes to a state and starts giving out loans to farmers without bringing in the state's Ministry of Agriculture, there's going to be a problem. Okay. Because it is easier for the states to guarantee these are farmers in my state. I know their farm. I know where they are. We are providing them with support. So these are the people that I can vouch for because I know what they are doing. Not just come from Abuja and start sharing money. To who? To which farm?
Okay. Let's begin to take the discussion home. We're looking at the factor of food crisis in our country. We cannot remove armed conflict.
Definitely.
So we should solve that.
Everything has to be addressed at the same time. We cannot wait till when we resolve the issue of security before we start tackling food supply. And that is where the involvement, the commitment of the concerned level of government comes in. If a state is invested in agriculture, it will also find a way to collaborate with the federal government to ensure that security is provided for its investment not to go down the drains. But you're not even in agriculture. How are you going to really provide funding for security or sit on the federal government's neck to ensure that your farmers are protected? What are you protecting?
All right, to me, we cannot end this discourse without looking at some food causes of food insecurity, and they might make you laugh. Poverty, increase in population, factors affecting crop growth, and so on and so on. So we are not moving to tackle these issues.
So for me,
so are we going to have a full-blown food crisis in my country, your country?
Well, we have a food crisis at hand, and I think it's full-blown because poultry farmers are complaining. Some of them are shutting down. So it's beyond. So the crisis is there, which shows the lack of planning over time from our government. And when I say our government, I mean the federal and state government.
And local government.
And local government. So these are the things we need to address. Like I said, most of these things, within a year, if there is a concerted effort and collaboration between the federal, state, and local government, will become history.
Yeah.
So it is. We don't need to wait for 4 years. It's something that can be resolved within the next 12, 18 months.
Thank goodness we don't have a very serious climate wahala here.
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop the discussion here. But not before thanking you, Tumi Olawe, for coming.
It's my pleasure.
All right, we are done and dusted, but not before reminding the viewer that our business here is to mold opinion and allow decision makers to take advantage of the opinion so molded. And of course, a food crisis is not anything I want to imagine here. I'm out of here, and so on behalf of the Backroom Boys, this is yours sincerely, Citizen Jones Hussein, saying thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.